Karen and I'm here to talk to you about the 3D Printing in Primary Schools project. We work with local industry, a tech company called Makers Empire, and they produce software that allows even really little kids to access 3D modelling without having to master any really complex computer-assisted design skills. So even children as young as reception are creating things in the software and then having them printed. We've got 100 schools in our project, and we're finding that most students are really engaged by 3D printing technologies and interested in learning about how to use design thinking to create some interesting objects that are useful to them and their communities. The design thinking process, as it's outlined in Stanford, is this process of empathy, so empathising with the person that you're creating or designing for, understanding them, and then defining that in terms of a problem and how you could solve that problem. Then ideating, so coming up with ridiculous ideas and fantastic ideas and then choosing which ones are doable. And then once you've chosen that, then you rapidly prototype some solutions and test them out on your user or audience, and you get some feedback, and then you reiterate on your design. That's the design thinking process. The focus is on design and technologies, which is a subject within the technologies learning area, but it's got many cross-curriculum links. So students have linked it to history, they've linked it to geography, they've linked it to science, they've linked it to maths. So it works in lots of different curriculum areas. In fact, the other curriculum areas bring rich problem contexts so that students can do learning in both design and tech and in another curriculum area. A very basic example is at Forbes Primary School, the students all have identical bags. They're all the school logo bag. And sometimes when they were coming out to get their lunch, some kids had rearranged the bags and they'd lose which one was theirs because they're all identical and they can't tell which one was which. So they came up with the idea of, let's create our own individual unique bag tags so that when we go out we can see immediately which one is ours. And these students were 5 and 6 years old, so they went through the whole design process to solve that problem. They came up with lots of solutions, but they chose that one particularly. What does the research tell us? Why should we 3D print in schools? Well, 3D modelling actually helps students develop their spatial visualisation and mental rotation skills. And spatial thinking is actually acting as a gatekeeper to STEM pathways in higher education. And there is evidence that spatial ability can be improved with practice, and digital tools like the 3D modelling software that we're using can help support this. But you can't just use the 3 views from software. You have to actually print so that students can get that kinesthetic connection to holding something and seeing how it translates from a screen into something real. For anyone that wants to put a 3D printer in a primary school, you need to think about a few things. One is that you need to use PLA plastic. PLA is a derivative of cornstarch, so it just smells like cookies when it's heating up. It's not toxic, which is really important. You need to have a filter. It needs to be in an open, airy place, and there's hot temperatures, so they have to be enclosed so that kids' little fingers can't get in. And you have to do a risk assessment for your site, but that's pretty straightforward. And then you've got about $1,000 will buy you a printer, and then you've got kids being able to see the whole design thinking process through from conception through to making. We partnered with Makers Empire, which is a local tech company, and their software is free to download, but in order to print or access, you have to have a subscription. The subscription might sound a bit expensive, but it comes along with professional learning for teachers over an extended period of time. So it's not just one-off face-to-face events. They provide professional development over 12 months. So a subscription to Makers Empire is about $4,000 initially, and then it's a $1,500 subscription per year after that. But you don't have to use expensive subscriptions if you don't want to. There are free things that you can use that would just require a little bit more understanding of the technology. So there's things like Tinkercad. That is a 3D modelling software that's freely available on the internet. It does require some computer-assisted design skills, whereas Makers Empire doesn't. Makers Empire is just drop and drag or touch screen technology, which makes it really accessible for 5-year-olds. In summary, there's limitless possibilities and opportunities for students to generate all sorts of ideas and solutions to a great many problems.